Hey guys, and welcome to my very rudimentary video on brazing. Now, I am brand new to brazing. I've brought it into my arsenal because I often find myself trying to join thin sheet metal, and welding is too heavy-handed, and soft soldering with a soldering iron is just not strong enough. So that's why I started to look at this. So just for context, on the right-hand side, we've got a soldering iron you typically see with electronics. They range from about 20 to 100 watts in terms of power. And then you've got the solder itself, which used to be mostly lead. It's called soft solder because it was soft, it flow easily because of the low melting point of lead. And that would typically be 40% lead, 60% tin. But now, due to environmental and health concerns, most people are using lead-free, which is up to 99% tin. Melting point between 90 if it's more leaded, up to 450 degrees Celsius for the unleaded. Then we move over to the gas torches. So we've got a butane torch on the right-hand side. You also have propane, which I am not showing here, which burns even hotter. It's a hotter burning gas. And then you've got MAP gas there, which I'm not even going to attempt to say. I'm going to put the name up on the screen of what gas that is. And that's typically what you'd see a plumber using. Now, for these gas torches, you can either use soft solder, a thicker version. You'll see plumbers using a big reel of soft solder. It's very similar to the soft solder used in electronics, but just much thicker. Different compositions though, but still pretty low melting point. Or we can actually use the brazing rod, also known as silver solder. Just like all the other soldering alloys, silver solder comes in many different compositions depending on what melting temperatures you want, other properties. In this case, I have Silver Flow 55, which is 55% silver. Now, apart from the fact that you can join thin pieces of metal together, the other great thing is you can join dissimilar metals. So you could join copper to steel, brass, basically any metal except aluminum. And that's what makes this so versatile. It's almost as strong as a fully welded joint with, say, a MIG welder, and yet the MIG welder will burn through thin material. It also can only join like for like, so steel and steel. And then you've got a soldering iron, which can join different types of metal, but it's a very weak mechanical joint. Oh, white powder. Could be so many things. But in this case, guys, it is flux, which is a compound you use when you're joining bits of metal together. See, I put a drop of washing out liquid in there. That stops the paste from setting rock hard, so that if I want to reuse it again, I can just add a little bit more water, and I'm going to add water to make a paste. Yeah, too much water, we'll drain that off. We're going to apply that to the joint. And what does flux do? It removes oxides and enhances the flow of solder, which basically allows the joint to be nice and clean and strong as it possibly can be. When it's things like welding, it comes within the rod. It's actually inside the core of the rod, but in this case and other types of welding, you add it separately. I'm going to join these two bits of steel plate. They're probably galvanized, so I've ground off the top coating, because if you burn or heat galvanized coatings, it's very poisonous to breathe in, so do that first. And now I'm just painting liberally on the flux. So we're getting the flame nice and hot on the gas torch, so we're just heating the metal plates. Just want to warm them up first before we even attempt to drag our brazing rod across the join. Make sure that flame is nice and hot. Yeah, you see the yellow flames, that's the wood burning as opposed to the yellow flame. You want a nice blue flame. And what I'm doing is just tentatively putting the rod in to slowly heat it up, keep testing it. You don't want to put the rod into the flame permanently because you'll just melt it and it will drop a big blob onto your work. Typically you want to get these orange hot, heat the steel until it turns orange, but in this case it's so thick it might take a long time, so we're going to see if we can get away without doing that. And yet, look there, you literally just need to touch the rod on there, and through capillary action it draws it along the joint. Just be very gentle with it. So now I'm just cooling it off with some water. And as you can see, that's a nice clean joint, and it is really strong, I can guarantee you that. Although it's hard to make out here, I'm actually now going to braze copper onto brass. Anyway, guys, that's it for this video. As I say, very versatile technique. All you need is a bottle of gas, a gas torch, some solder, and a bit of flux, and away you go. Pretty cheap, much cheaper than buying yourself a welder. So I'll be making more videos like this on building, repairs, sustainability, permaculture, and so on. So we'll see you on the next one.